Well, hello. Just thought I'd jump on a live stream for a bit of fun. So if anybody's around and would like to join in, please do just give me a shout. Hop on, say hello. The usual kind of thing. Just going to close down these multiple windows I have open that don't need to be open because I'm really not organized doing this today. So just bear with me if you are hopping on. It would be great to see some of you lovely, lovely people. Let me know if you can see me and hear me, and if you're popping into the chat. And if anybody like Imran or anyone wants to join in like I did this morning with their live stream, by all means, just jump on and let me know. Drop me a message and I shall give you the relevant details to be able to jump on and get involved. Anyway, hope you're all doing wonderfully well. Hope you had a great week so far. And if you didn't get a chance to catch up this morning with Imran's live where myself and Greg popped on, it was a bit of fun. Hey, Nicholas, how you doing, young man? And Sam, good to see you as well. I have no chance of saying Warehouse Best Buy. I don't know what the first part is, but hey, welcome. Welcome aboard. Thanks for joining in. And just coming to say hello. So, first of all, I hope you're having a wonderful week. Hope everything you've been doing has been beneficial. Good to see you in, Greg, as well. Thanks for the chat this morning. It was great to actually meet people face to face, which is always fun because I think Imran's doing a really cool thing where he's getting people involved in the conversation, jumping onto the live stream and that. I think it's pretty cool because there's a lot of people that I see names regularly popping up on, the sort of Facebook groups, in the chat sections, on the videos and things like that. And it's just fun to actually see what everyone's actually like in real life, or as close to real life as we can get it when it comes down to doing it online. You kind of get the idea what I'm talking about. But that was good fun, good fun. Okay, so who have we got in? Sound and video, okay. Thanks very much, Nicholas. Good to know that that's all working okay. Rich, good to see you as well. Good to see you can see and hear me. Now I'm going to stay on for probably about half an hour or so, just to sort of kind of get back into doing the live stream because with the run up now to the holiday season, I think it'd be a bit of fun to kind of get a couple of live streams in because I probably won't get a lot of chance to do a lot of videos over the holiday period. Take a little bit of a break to spend time with family and friends and, just enjoy the holiday and having a break. But live stream is always a bit of fun. We can jump on very, very quickly. Okay, what do we have in as well? Carl, good to see you. I could only just see your teeth shining out from the profile picture there. It's good to see you. It's been a long time since we caught up. I think we need to have a little bit of a chat one day and see how things are going because I haven't spoken to you in a long, long time. But great to see you joining in this last minute live stream. Patrick, hi from Dublin. Hope it's nicer in Dublin than it is here in Wales because it's bloody horrible at the moment. Anyway, so I don't really have any specific topics I want to talk about today. There's a couple of things I do want to have a chat about based upon things we're talking about this morning with Greg and with Imran. And also a couple of other things that I've kind of come across over the last couple of weeks where we've had Black Friday and Cyber Monday and a couple of things that I've picked up and some of the things that I'm kind of excited for. But if you've got any questions at all, the routine is basically simple. If you've got a question for me, and by all means, please do put questions out there, just do #Q. Just makes my life a little easier because then I can easily just go and do a search for that and I can find out what questions and what I need to sort of take a look at targeting. So by all means do. Els, good to see you in as well. Sam, always good to see you. Where did the fad saying as well instead of to? I have no idea. There's lots of things that we kind of get used to saying and I think we don't even realize we say them. Only until someone actually picks you up for saying them and then you become incredibly self-conscious for saying those particular things. Yes, so we'll leave it at that. Anyway, so good to see you all. Now, with Cyber Monday and Black Friday and all those kinds of deals and things, did anybody pick up anything that you've been looking for a long time? If you did, let me know what it was. Or did you pick up any deals that you think were just a surprise for A, maybe the price of them, or B, just how good the actual product or service was? Because I would love to know what kinds of things you've picked up. I only picked up a couple of things myself. And to be honest, most of it was bricks-based. Actually, I think all of it was bricks-based, except for one that I've picked up, which is for doing the video editing or video recording side of things, which just makes my life a little bit easier. But there's a lot of good things coming out for bricks at the moment. So if you're a bricks user, and you're looking for some great sort of tools to expand what you can do, keep an eye on the channel over the next few weeks and into the new year, because I've been taking a couple of sort of different tools for a test drive to see how quick you can actually rapidly sort of build up a website. And one of the things I did yesterday was, and I might do a video on this, it was kind of playing around a little bit, was could I actually build a bare bones but functional bricks website in under 20 minutes? I'm not going to tell you what the result was. It might have been yes, it might have been no, it might have been close. But I think that maybe I'll do a video on that and maybe do some other ones as well, because people say how difficult some of these tools are. And it'd be interesting to find out exactly how difficult some of them are to get at least the bare bones basics up and running that you can then flesh out and take your time. So if you'd like something like that, if you think that would be interesting, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the live chat if that was any of any interest. Bit of fun. Could be just like a challenge to myself. Could it be done? Is it possible? And what things are out there? Because this is one of those cool things that a lot of good tools have kind of come out recently that make building websites so much quicker and easier with whatever kind of tools you want to use. It's always fun to sort of see how you can streamline and speed up your whole process. And I picked up a lot of tips from Kyle from the admin bar, where he's created his different sort of starter sites and how he deploys things and things. Looking at frameworks, anybody that knows that I probably picked up the core framework with the bricks sort of add-on over Black Friday, which is an interesting kind of take. And hopefully this is something that I know Elementor have talked about, bringing some kind of global class system into it. And I think after experimenting a little bit now with global classes and frameworks and things, it would absolutely really benefit Elementor to be able to have some way of integrating that technology into Elementor core itself. Because like I say, with bricks, it's absolutely brilliant how quick you can do it. And you can use it with Oxygen, you can use it with Gutenberg, native Gutenberg. There's integrations with other tools. There's lots of different frameworks. There's ACSS, there's core framework, there's Winden, I think is another one. Tailwind, sorry. There's a range of different ones. And they do open up a lot of possibilities to speed things up. So again, if you'd like to learn more about frameworks, let me know, because I will look at creating content for that. Greg, you're not a chump at all. If anybody doesn't know, you'll probably pick it up if you go and hang around the Facebook group for bricks. Anyway, we'll say no more with that. Okay, let's have a little look. I've seen a couple of questions. Now, if you do like these kinds of live streams, these last-minute live streams, or the things we talk about, be sure to give it a thumbs up, because it does help me, it does help the channel, it does help YouTube realize that, we're putting some content out there that people actually enjoy. So it's beneficial if you can. Just give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it. If you don't, by all means, hit that thumbs down button twice. That works perfectly well too. Okay, let's have a little look at what questions we've got, because I see one or two hashtag Qs come up. So let's have a quick look. I can try my best to answer some of those questions as I go along. Right. Maybe it's out of the topic question. I'm sorry, I've lost out what that was even to do with. I think maybe the first part of that question was missing. So if you've got any questions, like I say, hashtag Q just to let me know. Carl, what did you get? You got a lifetime freelancer for WP Vivid, Sure Graph Max plan, and Perf Matters. Missed the deal though. I did contemplate picking up Perf Matters. That was a pretty decent deal. I think it was only about like 20-25% off, but it's a great little plugin, a great little add-on that opens up some really easy ways to streamline and speed up your sites. But I think if you're using tools like bricks and it's optimized well, excuse me, or you're using like GenerateBlocks or Cadence, you can optimize your site pretty quickly anyway. But Perf Matters is a tool that will eke out those extra little bits. Lifetime freelancer for WP Vivid. I bought that a couple of years back, and that served me incredibly well, and I use that on pretty much every one of my sites, and pretty much all of my client sites as well, because it just gives you peace of mind when you make updates and stuff. Rich, what do you want? Oh, I'd like to see more vids like that. I think it'd be a bit of fun. I think it has this sort of competitive element to, is it possible to create something, and how would you go about doing it? And it's kind of like a speed run through it. So yeah, if you are interested in that, I will probably take a look at doing it. Say I run through a test idea with one set of tools that I wanted to see, is it viable, or am I just wasting my time? But that kind of opened my eyes up to, right, okay, what other things could I do to make the stakes a little bit higher? So keep an eye out, I might well do that. Oh, Raymond, I feel your pain. Currently building a WooCommerce shop from scratch to replace our current 10-year-old OpenCart shop. Our OpenCart used to be a good platform, but I also found that it was a bit of a bugger to customize and to keep up to date when they made big changes to it. But it was worlds apart from what you did with WooCommerce. So be interesting to find out how you get on with that. I mean, how are you finding it from a server and a speed point of view as you're rebuilding it? Do they stack up favorably, or are you finding OpenCart was slower, faster? Let me know. It's interesting to find out. Okay, Carl. Regarding WP Vivid, I must say I'm extremely impressed with their support service. I used Breakdance in one of their modules and used images. It's not working correctly when you use Breakdance. Well, I'm glad to hear that you've had a good experience with the technical support, because let's be honest about it, that's always something that's important when it comes down to any kind of software that you buy, is that the technical support, should you need it, is good. We all want to make sure that if we need technical support, we don't have to wait for days and days and days, and then we just get asked a load of useless questions. Sparakash, I've been using GP since a couple of years, support Bricks Ltd, but I'm absolutely lost. Well, have a check out on my channel, on my website, sorry. It's learnbricksbuilder.com, and there's currently probably about 15 or 18 tutorials, I think, on there for working with Bricks Builder. But if you get stuck on anything and you kind of want just some help and some support, by all means become part of the WP Tuts Facebook group. Just do a search for WP Tuts on Facebook and you'll find the group on there. Get involved in there, ask your questions. There's plenty of people that are really good with bricks, and I'm sure that you get answers and help and support should you need it. And I will be creating more content on bricks over the next couple of months, because I want to sort of delve into it a little bit deeper. But like I say, I want to sort of take a look at not just using only bricks itself, but combining it with things like a framework, combining it with sort of like wireframe templates, just because it speeds up the development so much. And there's so many good things coming to it. I've also been taking a look at Advanced Thema. That's looking really good. There's a really good update coming out to that hopefully very soon, because Maxime, the guy that's actually behind creating it, spent the last couple of days working on a visual CSS grid builder, which is looking incredibly cool. So I can't wait for that to be brought out to the actual plugin itself, to open up some even more options. If you've seen how quickly did it, it's a similar kind of thing like that, where you can visually drag out and expand and create a fully flexible CSS grid across all your different breakpoints and so on. That's looking really, really cool. Excuse me. I got a bit of a cold, so bear with me if I'm a bit hoarse. Okay, but yeah, do get involved though, because I think you'll probably find it really useful to have people you can just ask questions of. If you get stuck on anything, you can kind of ask and get some help and support there. Greg, it's my only complaint, because Breakdance isn't a class first page builder. However, you can use custom classes. It's just a bit daunting. Excuse me. Yeah, I think with Breakdance, they've definitely taken the opposite route to what Oxygen took, which was heavily working on classes and class-based system, and they're definitely trying to target the Elementor market. Whether that will change in the future, I wouldn't be surprised. It'd be interesting to see if they do. But well, we'll have to see. I'm not a user of Breakdance, and I don't see that changing in the imminent future. But who knows? Greg, can you do a build using Advanced Thema? Are you asking me, can I do one, as in, like, can I create a tutorial on it? Or are you asking a question in general, can you actually do a build using Advanced Thema? Because if it's the latter, then yes, absolutely. And even if you wanted to use this to create your own simplistic, or more complicated, but if you wanted to create your own framework, Advanced Thema allows you to do that alongside a lot of other things. I took a look at it when it was first released, just sort of version 1.0, and Maxime is already on version 2.2, I believe, at the moment, and that's in the space of, wow, I'd like to say 4 months. He's been incredibly quick bringing out these updates and new features and listening to what the community and users actually want. It's growing into a really powerful tool to expand what you can do with Bricks Builder. Whether you need it all or whether you need any of it is obviously down to you. A lot of people will swear by it. Other people will say it's not needed. But I think it is an interesting project, and with the fact he's bringing out the CSS grid builder, handling the classes and so on, just makes working with it more visual, a little bit easier, and sort of takes away some of the deficiencies that Bricks has. We talk positively, myself and Imran, a lot of other people talk positively about Bricks, and it is a great platform. But it's not perfect. There's still plenty of things that could be brought into it, that can be expanded, can be added into it to make it even more powerful. But again, for the fact that it's only now coming up to version 2.0, whenever that's released, it's on 1.93, I think, at the moment. It's surprising how far that's grown. And speaking of which, and I've got no affiliation, I get no money for this whatsoever, But if you are considering getting bricks and you want to get that lifetime deal, you need to lock it in before, I think it's the 14th or the 15th of January 2024, because that's when the price will go up. So currently, I think it's $249 for unlimited lifetime, and that will be going up to $599 unlimited lifetime in January. So if you want to grab it and you want that lifetime deal and you want to lock that price in, and this will give you lifetime updates, my understanding is at least version 2 and beyond, now is probably the best time to do it, or you probably will regret it waiting until after that 15th of January, where the price does go up considerably. So bear that in mind if you are considering jumping on the bricks sort of bandwagon. Nicholas, have you used GreenShift? If you did, I would love to see your insights. If you haven't, do you plan to test it? I have taken a look at it quite a while back. Probably, I would say at the beginning of this year, I took a look at it. I wasn't overly impressed by the interface, if I'm honest. Not that there's anything wrong with what it does, because I think it was a very, very powerful and feature-rich builder for Gutenberg, and it sits on top of Gutenberg kind of thing. And I know a lot of people really do swear by it, and I was going to pick up a deal. I was going to pick it up during Black Friday, but to be honest, it was one of those things I was thinking, would I actually spend the time to learn it to warrant that investment? And the same thing went for, I was going to pick up the Cadence sort of deal as well. I just don't know if I have the inclination to really jump on board with it. But that being said, I may well go back and take a look at it in a little bit more detail and see how it's matured over the last 12 months. So I won't say never, but it's not in my imminent plans to take a look at it. I think there's a lot of really interesting tools coming out, like GreenShift, like Quickly. You know, they are really expanding what could be done sitting on top of Gutenberg and not taking the same route as builders like, you know, Breakdance, Elementor, Divi, those kinds of things. It's a different approach, but it still does sit on top of WordPress. So there's still some, you know, negative factors about doing it that way. Any of these kind of have that, you know, how they sort of push through the block sort of way of working on full-site editing and so on. But Nicholas, to answer your question, I have only briefly looked at it, and I may well go back and take a look. And if anybody's got a sort of a pro license, and they use something like InstaWP, and they'd like to spin up an account so I can take a look at it, by all means, drop me a message, let me know on the Facebook group, whatever, to give me the opportunity to take a look at it, because otherwise it just ends up getting incredibly expensive to go out and keep buying all these different sort of tools to test them out, to create videos on them. Okay. Raymond. Exactly. Upgrading was a no-go with OpenCart, but very stable if you don't touch it, and it works with light hosted. Yeah, that was kind of my experience. It was pretty decent, but upgrading could be a bit of a pain, and also making changes to it wasn't anywhere near as user-friendly. There's a lot of additional plugins needed, or code editing. You really had to get your hands dirty to take it where you wanted to go with it. So not necessarily the nicest platform to work with when you wanted to customize things. And a lot of the themes and designs weren't necessarily the best designs in the world. You know, they were okay, but they weren't fantastic. Well, good luck anyway. I hope it all works out and you have a much better experience on, you know, moving over to WooCommerce. Video Boy, what will I be missing out if I get GB Pro and only GB Pro? I'm assuming you mean if you don't go for GeneratePress Pro. So, if I get GB Pro and only GP, I mean, you've lost me now. What am I missing if I get GB Pro and only GP Pro? I'm lost. Are you thinking of getting one or the other or both? Because I would say if you get GenerateBlocks Pro and you only use the free version of GeneratePress, the main thing you're going to be missing out on is going to be the Elements feature, which is technically your kind of hooks, or the way you can sort of pull in template components and create custom templates for pretty much anything you want when it comes to GeneratePress. I would say you'd be better off getting both if you wanted that, because that does open up so much more potential when it comes to working with GeneratePress and GenerateBlocks. It really is a great combination. There's an overlap, and hopefully this is one of those areas that will get refined and updated over the sort of the next, let's say, 12 months, because there's a lot of redundancy in GeneratePress and GeneratePress Pro if you use GenerateBlocks. So it's like you do one thing and you think, but there's a setting there for that, and if I change that, that doesn't do anything, and there's a kind of an overlap there, so it's a little bit frustrating from that point of view until you become more accustomed to it. But I would say if you're going down the route of, let's say, Generate Blocks, I would go Pro with both of them. If you were going to miss out on one, I would probably say go Pro on GeneratePress to get the access to the Elements feature, because you can still do an awful lot with the free version of Generate Blocks. You can still use dynamic data, not all of the functionality, but you can still use a lot of it. And I think that would be the better way of going about it, as opposed to using GeneratePress free and Generate Blocks Pro. Hope that answers the question at least. Els, would love to see a dashboard with BricsForge. I'm working with Daniel, the creator of BricsForge, to kind of go over some things that I'm stumbling upon at the moment. But I will be working on some form of front-end dashboard using BricsForge, because once I've been looking at the Pro forms, which is what I've been looking at the last couple of days, they are insanely powerful. But there's a very steep learning curve with it. And the one thing that I've seen, and I will feedback to Daniel on this, is that it really, really needs to have better documentation and or good tutorials, good training on it. Because to give you a simple example, when you create your forms, you can input all the different fields and things, and then you can set an action that you want to happen. So for example, update a post, create a post, update a user, those types of things. Well, I couldn't find any clear instruction and documentation to say, well, where do you get various different IDs from, and when do you use different IDs and different code and things like that in various different parts of the form and the submission and the action you wanted to take. And he was kind enough to log into a test setup that I'd set up a couple of days ago, playing around with things, come across a few things that didn't make sense to me and a bug or two. And he came back off his holidays, logged in, went through everything. They released a new version, or they will be releasing a new version based upon some of the bugs that I kind of come across. And he set up a form for me, basically replicated what I'd been trying to do. And there's a lot of things inside, and I'm thinking, okay, I can see where that is listed in there, but where did it come from? And that was a bit of sort of like, you had to do a bit of reverse engineering to see, well, where's the URL? Where does the short code? Where does the bit of information come from? But I think once you become accustomed to it, it will be a really solid and powerful thing. So Els, I will definitely be digging into BricsForge. And as always, if you want to test this out yourself, just drop me a message and I'll be more than happy to set up a test server for you so you can go and take a look at this yourself and you can try it out. Just let me know, the usual kind of way, and I'll be more than happy to do that. Thanks heaps. We'll check out your website and join your group. Not a problem at all. It's a wonderful little group. There's over 13,000 people in there, all web professionals and amateurs and people of all levels and all walks of life. Lots of people using bricks and all different kinds of tools. And if you get stuck on something, it's a friendly place to ask for help and support. And I'm sure someone, or more than one person, will be able to point you in the right direction should you get stuck or just have any questions or need advice on anything to do with your website, bricks, and so on. So hopefully see you around there. Okay, what else do we have? Right, let's have a little look. Seen a teaser from Maxime and thought I will never use microthema. Exactly, I think it's, if you've seen the teaser, if you've seen the advanced themers, sort of like information about the new CSS grid, I think you'll probably agree that it looks pretty impressive. Right. Yeah, hopefully, Video Boy, I hope I answered that question. Like I say, I would probably err on the side of, unless you have specific needs for features that are in GB Pro, then I would probably go GB Free and GP Pro if my choice was limited to only one of the Pro versions. Yeah, that's what I'd probably do. Or, I mean, if you can afford to do it, I would say jump on the lifetime of GeneratePress Pro, because you can grab that. I don't know if they're still running their Black Friday deal, which I think was 20 or 25% off. I have no idea. And then once you've kind of recouped the cost from that and using Generate Blocks free, then maybe invest in Generate Blocks for, just try one license. Because the nice thing with both GB and GP is that you can buy your single license or your 3 or 5 site license, whatever it is, and then you can just simply pay the difference and move up to the next tier as and when you need to. So you could literally start off with just a single license and move up as you needed more licenses. That's what I did when I was testing things out, and it's worked out pretty well for me. But yeah, that's the way I would go about doing it. Greg, I'm intrigued with Advanced Thema and its potential without having to use other tools that wouldn't make me a chump. Greg, let the chump go. Please just let the chump go. But Greg, again, much the same as I've said to Els, if you want to test things like advanced theming and things like that, drop me a message. Drop me a message on Facebook, and I'm more than happy to set up a test server for you so you can try it out and take it for a spin for yourself. And you can see what these tools do, get a feel for it. And then, if you find out you want to invest in it, you've taken it for a test drive for as long as you want. Just let me know. Just hit me up, and I'm sure I can sort that out for you. Let me have a little look. Louise, let's have a look. What can I say? Love using Beaver Builder and Thema and tried some block builders, but didn't really gel with the UI UX. Curious if I should give it another go if they've matured. I've only really sort of dabbled with Beaver Builder probably about 2 years ago, and I didn't find it to be that nice an experience from a user's UI experience point of view. But I can imagine that if you've kind of grown up with that, should we say, and you become comfortable with it, all these tools become second nature when you become that comfortable with them. I think if you were looking at testing out some different block-based tools, there are some that I think are better than others. Yeah, I would say if you're looking, I would try probably Spectra free, because that is quite a nice experience. That's not a bad plugin to test things out with. And like I say, it is free. That's always good. Cadence Blocks is also good if you want to try one out for free. That's very similar. The way they work is very similar to each other. And you'll find that across a lot of the sort of the higher level, more established block-based tools, they are very similar in how they are laid out, how they work, and so on. But if you want to get into one that I think takes a little bit of learning but has a smaller tool set, then GenerateBlocks is my go-to. I absolutely love GenerateBlocks. The limitations that I thought with it to start off with effectively make you a more focused designer, because it takes away the paralysis you can have from so many different widgets or blocks or whatever they're called in whatever tool you're using, and they just make you focus on getting the job done and being streamlined in your design process. And I found, for me, that works really, really well. So there's a couple of options there for you. All of them have free versions. All of them will get you to the point where you're comfortable understanding how they would work. And then if you like how they work and you want to progress on to some of the more advanced features or some of the extra features that the Pro or Premium versions have, they're not going to be such a steep learning curve to move up to those other options when you kind of like feel like that's where you want to go with them. That's how I would approach it. That's kind of what I did with GenerateBlocks. That's what I did with Cadence and so on. Just get stuck into those free versions, get comfortable and see which one resonates with you, if any, and then take a look at the Pro should you need them. Okay, let's have a little look. So remember, if anybody's new that's joined in now in the last sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, if you have any questions, if you can do #Q, just makes my life a little easier so I can filter through and find out more questions. Sarah, I've been watching your tutorials on using JetEngine and Elementor to create a directory. They're great, but I'm a bit overwhelmed. Do you have any suggestions for where I could get additional support? It's always a good place to join up to the Facebook group for Crockablock. You can always get good support there. And Crockablock do have, from my understanding, a good sort of thing with when it comes to the technical support, and that is that they are good with that. And they'll jump on a call with you if you're stuck with something and do a video call kind of thing. So I would say that would be my starting point, is jump onto one of those groups. By all means, join up to the WP Tuts Facebook group, because there's plenty of people that use JetEngine in there. And I'm sure if you get stuck on anything specifically, there's going to be people that are going to help you out in either or both of those groups. Try those first of all and see how you get on. And hopefully that will help you then progress with the whole process. But with any of these kinds of tools, these dynamic tools, JetEngine is a very powerful tool, but it's also incredibly overwhelming because there are so many features in there. I would always suggest starting off with a really simple scenario. Get yourself comfortable with those basics, those foundational skills and topics and tools. And then as you need to expand, do some research. If you've got questions, like I say, jump into groups like the WP Tuts group, the Crockablock group, and ask for help and support. And if there's tutorials and things, if people can sort of point you in the right direction for getting help and finding out how to use them. There's tons of people out there that are incredibly helpful. So never be afraid to ask those questions if you get stuck. But like I say, get those foundations under your belt, get comfortable with those, and you will find then that other things come a little bit easier for you. Give that a try anyway, Sarah. Hopefully that's helped a little. Okay. Greg, It's just the settings in Bricks is a bit daunting. I have their LTD when it first launched. I totally agree with you. There's a lot of settings in Bricks Builder, an awful lot. Most of which you probably don't need to worry about for the most part. This is where I think getting a framework can really make your life a little easier, because if you've never used a framework, consider a framework like a bunch of predefined rules or settings that you can use without having to give it thought, if that makes sense. So for example, if you take a look at something like Core Framework, you've got a typography chart in there, so you can literally go in, set your base size, and it will calculate all the other things in between. And then all you need to do is reference that relevant little bit of code, that variable that you want to use, wherever you want to set a font size. And then you've always got one place to go back to make a change. You want to make your font larger or smaller, and the whole scale will update and your whole website will update. You literally go back to the Core Framework sort of settings page, make one change, and everything else is reflected. And the same thing goes for your spacing and so on. But the nice thing about something like Core Framework, and like I said, there are other frameworks available out there, is that they generally have an entire setup done for you. So your spacing, if you want to use CSS grid, you want to use relevant different things for typography, for colors, all those kinds of things, they're all set up ready for you. You just have to learn the basics of what code goes where. And like I say, that's not that difficult. And I will be doing a video on the basics to kind of get you up and running with using a framework like Core Framework inside Bricks Builder. But the principle works anyway. You can kind of use CSS variables. So, for example, you can use certain elements of this inside things like GeneratePress and GenerateBlocks. You can use it in various other tools. Elementor, I don't know if you can with Elementor, to be honest, yet. There's no connection integration between the two, but you may be able to. I'd have to go and check that out. But honestly, I think the easiest way to get to grips with Bricks is to get to grips with a framework and use that inside Bricks. But like I say, I will be creating at least a getting started beginner's guide to working with a Core Framework and Bricks Builder to kind of get your feet wet with those fundamental techniques and skills. So do keep an eye on that, Greg. I will be doing something on that in the near future. What have we got? Chris. Excuse me. Have you tried Webflow and is it good? Yes, I've tried Webflow. It's good if you want to go for a totally self-contained platform. In other words, your hosting, your CMS, your design tool, everything is all in the one place. The biggest problem kind of has come along over the last, say, 6 months is where their pricing has gone insanely weird, where you could start off and it's relatively cheap to start off with, but you kind of go over a threshold which isn't that high a threshold, and suddenly the price skyrockets. So you have to be careful with that. The good thing about it, though, is that you can sign up and you can start, or you could, I'm assuming you still can, and you can develop your site on the Webflow platform and you can publish it to a Webflow-based URL. It's only when you actually want to take it over to your own kind of dedicated domain and all the things that go with it that you start to get charged. But it would give you the ability to be able to get your feet wet, understand how the platform works, and find out if it's for you. Now, there's obviously lots of great tutorials online. Take a look at Flux Academy because they release a lot of videos on getting started and working with Webflow. And also take a look at the Webflow, I think it's the Academy, because their videos are absolutely brilliant. They're top notch, they're funny, they're entertaining, they're educational. They're definitely worth looking at. Do a little bit of research, watch some of those, see if it kind of like feels comfortable to you. And if it does, take the platform for a spin and see what you think about it. You know, if you're coming from Bricks or you're coming from Elementor now with the container element, moving over to something like Webflow is a lot less daunting because that uses CSS grid, that uses Flexbox. So there's a more synergistic link between all of these tools now that means transitioning from one to another is a case of learn the interface, learn the quirks and the different way they work and do different bits and pieces. And you should still be able to sort of transition your skills over a lot quicker than you would have done previously, where they all use their own different ways of working. But yeah, Webflow is a solid platform and definitely worth checking out because you may find it's absolutely perfect for you. And you may find that your clients, if you've got clients and you're working commercially, absolutely love that side of things. So check it out. Excuse me again. Oh, it's very warm in here and very dry. Right. Fifi, I have no idea. Will you check the new Droip page builder and give us your honest opinion? I've never actually heard of it. So drop me a link in the chat and I'll take a little look if I can. Good afternoon, sir. I hope you're doing well. Now, this is the man behind the Snippets Club. I keep saying Code Snippet. Snippets Club website. And he's doing some amazing snippets. And yeah, I really like what you've been doing. So I do appreciate, especially the one you brought out recently that I picked up and did the video on, which Kyle sort of brought my attention to, which is allowing us to easily insert dynamic data inline any way we want with tools like Generate Blocks, using advanced custom fields, ACPT, and all those kinds of things. So it is a really, really good club. So I definitely recommend checking out that. So that's, I gotta get it right now. I'll get it right. Give me a second. Snippets Club. Bloody hell. You can tell it's been a long day. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. Snippetsclub.com, if I believe right. Check it out because there's some really good snippets on there and some very, very good tutorials and some great ways of expanding what you want to do without needing plugins and so on. And yes, you do need to be part of the Facebook group. Carl, you're a star. Thank you very much, sir. We'll add that. Thank you very much. You're a gentleman. BG, what's your opinion on Pinegrow and have you tried it? I tested it out probably about 18 months ago. And I think it's got an awful lot of potential. Really, it's a different way of working. So obviously it's a sort of a self-hosted, self-contained platform or tool, development environment. And I think you need to be definitely upper level. You need to understand your CSS, your JavaScript, your HTML, PHP to kind of get the most out of that. But I think it's an interesting platform. I think it's got a lot of things going for it. And I do like the fact that you can use it to create your own custom themes. You can use it and connect it up with dynamic data with things like ACF and so on. There's a lot of things to like about Pinegrow, but I do think it's all got an awful steep learning curve to start to get the most out of it. And I think that will be something that you will reap rewards from it once you kind of get comfortable with it. But I think it does take a fair old bit of learning to get to the point where you'd be effective with it and really doing yourself justice by using that kind of tool. But definitely worth checking out. Again, I don't know if they've got their lifetime deal still, or lifetime deal, sorry, their Black Friday deal still on. Again, it's another one of those ones I did contemplate picking up, but I kind of have to pick what I'm going to pick up these days because I can spend an awful lot of money on things that I will never ever use. I'm trying my best not to do that because I've done that so many times in the past. So I would say it's worth looking into. Thank you, Carl, for putting in the link to the group as well. Okay, Stratos, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Bloxy Free and Spectre is a nice combination. Now, Bloxy version 2.0 has come out with their big update, and there's a lot to like about it. And Stratos has done a video on that recently, and definitely check that out. I'm going to go back and take a proper look myself. There's a lot of really good things inside there, especially if you want to work with WooCommerce. And if you want to work with dynamic data. I love what those guys are doing over there with Bloxy. And I really do hope that they will bring out their block-based plugin to complement it so we don't have to rely upon third-party. Previously it was Stackable, now they're starting to use GreenShift. I want to see them bring out their own so we can have that nice link between the two. Els, I don't agree with you. That's fine. You don't have to agree with me at all. First learn bricks and then add the framework. Otherwise, you may end up not understanding why things do not happen as you want. That's fair enough. And, I think we've all got our own ways of learning and our own ways of dealing with things. I do think, like I say, from my point of view, I think understanding how a framework works can just take away some of the edge of the fear that you may have when it comes to bricks. But I think both of us, we're both right. Let's just go with that. We're both right. Right. Make sure I don't hit that ban button. Okay, just joking. Hey, Artif, how you doing, man? You want to jump in now as well? I know you have microphone envy, but it's okay. You can always jump in anytime you want. Okay. Hey, no problem at all. Like I say, at some point I will. Like I say, I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. It's been a very long day so far, and my brain is not necessarily working the way it should do. Snippet. Thank you very much, Carl. That's where you need to go. Snippetclub.com. Check it out. I think there's a lot of great things on it. And even if you only got one tool off there, I would say the $20 for that little code snippet that allows you to easily inline dynamic content and options and tons of dynamic data. I did a video on it recently. is worth every single cent. Once Kyle showed that, I went straight away and went and bought it straight away. It was a no-brainer. So if you like working with dynamic data and you want a nice, simple way of being able to integrate that in without complicated plugins and all that kind of stuff, really is a good little plugin. Sorry, a good little code snippet. I absolutely love it. And I'm assuming Carl, no, that's a YouTube video. Oh, that probably is my video. So thank you, Carl. You were on the case, dude. Way too quick for me. Stratos, I'm also creating a deep tutorial series about everything in Bloxy. Also, the support is fast and great. Definitely a must-buy. I couldn't agree more. I mean, my WP Tut site is still built on Bloxy, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. And version 2, Sergey sort of sent over the beta version of it before it was a public beta, and it was absolutely brilliant. So I would say it's definitely worth checking out. Even if you just check the free version out, Bloxy is brilliant. Artif. All right, bear with me a second. I need to get my my screen up. Now, I'm only going to be on for about another 10-15 minutes, but you are more than welcome to join in Artif if you want to. Let me just grab this link, and I will send that over to you now. Right. Artif, I'm going to send you the message privately over on Facebook, or drop me a message now on Facebook. I'll reply back to you, and I'll send you the link over. Snippets Club demo board. Calm down now, princess. Calm down. I almost hit the ban button on you then, Carl. I do apologise. Alejandro, I'd like to know, do you offer how to offer maintenance plans on the web to my clients? That's a big way of, there's lots of ways you can do this. We talked about things like this in the past. What I would suggest is to keep it really simple, and you can have different kinds of maintenance plans. You can have a maintenance plan that's effectively for updates, which is a good way of working, because then you keep them updated, their software updated, all those kinds of things. But I would generally recommend to separate out. If you want to offer design updates or content updates, I would generally recommend being careful combining everything together, because you can very quickly get into sort of very gray areas. So what I did was I'd have my maintenance plan, which would be my technical maintenance plan, and my second one would be my design and content maintenance plan. And they could combine the two if they wanted to. And then it was up to them how they want to utilize it. So for example, with the design side of things, they would buy 6 hours or 12 hours, and they could use it, half an hour a month or an hour a month, or they could use whatever they wanted in whatever chunks they wanted, but it would only ever last for 12 months. They might find 1 month they would have 6 hours of my time to do something, and then they might not use anything for another 5 months, and then they might have half an hour. And at the end of the 12 months, that would reset. Or if they use them all up in a shorter period of time, they could buy another maintenance plan block. So they were kind of effectively buying blocks of my time that they could utilize however they wanted. But then I'll have an annual maintenance plan, which includes the licenses, updating and things like that. And also included in there, if they sort of like on a basic maintenance plan, that wouldn't include major updates. So for example, if WordPress went from version 5 to version 6 or 6 to 7, or like Elementor, if they were using that, went from version 3 to version 4, they wouldn't be included because they are much bigger updates that could potentially cause problems. So, just be sensible and think about how you want to implement these kinds of plans before you do anything, because you can get yourself into hot water if you don't sort of structure things in a logical kind of fashion. So that's the only thing I would say, is to be careful how you structure things and just monitor things and modify should you need to as and when, because there will be times and situations where you will have to change things based upon experience and based upon things that happen. Have I tried Block Studio? Similar sort of vein as Pinegrow. I've seen it, I haven't tried it. Is it something you think is good? Let me know. And let's hook up and actually have a chat, because I've never actually spoken to you. So it'd be nice to actually kind of have a chat about what you're doing, and if there's any way I can kind of help more people know about what you're doing, because I really do think what you're doing there with the Snippets Club is pretty sweet. Very, very good. Okay, let's have a look. I applied my personal site and have to rebuild it because it doesn't use the template tag snippet. Well, if you can't use your own snippets, what can I say? Okay, what we've got. Stardust, if you use Elementor or third-party tools, the client has to have support, because at some point an update is going to break everything. Can't let Elementor without going in. Yeah, good point. It is a good point, though. Like I say, I think you do you do have to factor these things in, because if you were doing a sort of a big, you've got a site that has a lot of updates, you need to make sure that you've got something in place, because you are going to have to do things like staging sites and stuff like that, just to make sure that everything is in place, that if something goes wrong, which invariably it will at some point, you've got contingency plans in place to be able to make sure that if something goes wrong, you can get things up and running. And that all takes time to test things out before you run it, before you get people to sort of like go with the live site and so on. So just bear those kinds of things in mind. Anyway, no problem at all. I hope that was useful. I hope they sort of showed some ideas and some different tools and things that are out there that were worth investing in. That was cool. Okay, Carl Van Dusen from the admin bar has a great tool for selling maintenance plans. Yep, it's called the WOM, the Website Owner's Manual, and I think it's something like, it's about $40 or $49. Sometimes it's on offer, and I think if you sign up to his mailing list, you get a discount on it. And if you are looking to sell maintenance plans, it's absolutely worth grabbing that, because it will just streamline the whole process of being able to send the information over to new clients when you finish the site, but also existing clients you may want to pass this on and get them onto maintenance plans. It's a great way of giving them the information to nudge them in the right direction to get on board. Now, I should have a guest jumping on with me, so let's have a little look. I'm going to put my earphones in a second. Artif, how are we doing? Let's have a little look. Let me just get you in. Hang on a second. There we go. So bear with me. Right. Come on. Why are you not assigned guest one? There we go. Now let me just put some earphones in so I can actually hear what you're saying.
Afternoon. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm very good. You okay?
I'm sitting down. Yes, I'm fine.
Right. Let me just get this going to my. So just bear with me a second, everybody. Artif is going to entertain you now with some scintillating jokes while I try to get everything working.
You put me on the spot now. Okay, I wish
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
the
Right,
joke. What could be the biggest joke at the moment? I'm looking out of a window. It's dark. It's only nearly 4 o'clock. It feels like it's 8 o'clock.
it's sad, isn't it? Right, where's my bloody settings for these earphones? Right, bear with me, everybody, because I'm trying my best to get these bloody things going properly. Right. Can everybody hear Artif and see Artif? Everything okay? Everything look and sound okay from your side of things?
I can't do the YouTube to see some of the chat messages, but I can see you. I can hear you. It's all fine for me.
That's not always a good thing, though, is it?
Well, it's better than being with Imran.
Oh, that's harsh. Fair, maybe, but harsh. Right, for some reason I cannot seem to find my earpods to be able to get anything. Oh, thank you very much, Carl. Carl said everything is looking and sounding okay. So I'm going to try and get these things working. But Artif, how are you doing, sir? How's everything going with Code Snippets?
Yeah, it's good. It's busy. Black Friday was a real busy time, obviously for us. It's for many others in the WordPress space, but it was like obviously biggest event of our year. We're really trying to push out features. I think it's been long overdue for some of the features that we've been trying to push out. We have kind of three key milestones that we're trying to do before the end of the year. We've reached two. We have one left, and I want to say fingers crossed we can get the last one. But I don't know if you had a chance to look at any of them, any of the things like the AI or the cloud or anything like this. And if you have any comments, you can be as harsh as you like. It's okay. I can take it.
Well, funny enough, no criticism. I've got awful echo coming back from you as well. Well, what I would suggest. Oh, this is weird because I can just hear myself coming back. There's one thing that Imran said this morning, which was about the snippets that are kind of shipped as part of Code Snippets when you install it. The sort of the 4 or 5 snippets that are sort of default. Is there any
Yeah.
way that could be done in such a way that if you've got a cloud account, that you could sort of save a collection of your favorites, should we say, and then when you install and connect it up to your cloud account, it would automatically switch things over. Right, give me a second.
There is a way to do that now. There's no automated way, I guess, at the moment to do that. It's more of a manual process of doing that. You could have a bunch of your common snippets that you always use or things that you always need to have, and then when you connect the cloud, you can manually pull them in. But if you mean, okay, if you have a brand new fresh site, I want to install core snippets, first thing I do is connect the cloud, and then it will automatically bring in that favorite bundle and get rid of all the defaults. There's nothing automated like that, but I like this suggestion. I think it's a good idea. And I actually agree. I delete all these default ones. I delete them as well. I've never used any of them.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like it would be cool to have it in such a way that you could literally connect up your account to your cloud account, and it would say, okay, these are your favorites. This is what you install as your starter pack on every site, and then you just drop it straight on there, and they're there all
Yeah.
the time.
Interestingly, actually, aside from features, I hope, I guess, hopefully doesn't mind me talking a bit too much about it, but it'd be good to get your insights as well. We are actually, on a side note, thinking about the interface. The interface hasn't changed since the plugin came out
Mm.
donkeys years ago, and there's a good familiarity with it. People like myself, WooCommerce is a good example. I like the old interface with WooCommerce just because it's familiar, but WordPress is changing. The direction they're going in phase 3 is changing. The look and feel of it is changing, and this is a real discussion that we're having is maybe we should also change and modernize the interface and make things a bit more uniform between the plugin, the cloud, and the website, just so you have a good, unique feel. I wonder, and you touched on this a little bit earlier on, actually. I think Imran said he kind of preferred the old interfaces to the newer one. What kind of thoughts do you have on plugins that are so maybe I don't know established to update and modernize, especially even as in WordPress is a good example of just themselves, the page coming to the block editor, moving to full site editing. Do you feel that's a good way to go? Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think people expect a certain level of design standard these days. It does influence our perception of a tool. And like I say, I think if you take a look at something like WordPress itself, where you've got full site editing, which is completely different to the normal WordPress interface, which is different to Gutenberg, and there's real disconnect there. But if you look at like full site editing, that looks modern and fresh, and the direction that I think it should go in. But they need to sort of pull all these things together, and they should be pulling them together right now. So I think you would be in the right sort of direction if you said, right, let's pull all of the elements together. So when someone's on the cloud platform, look at the plugin, wherever they are, it's like that is code snippets, and I
Yeah.
know exactly where I am, and
Yeah.
everything feels familiar. The typography, the color scheme, the iconography, the way you work, everything is cohesive.
I agree with you. I think the real challenge around that is because we sit within the WordPress dashboard, the admin dashboard, and you know, I personally don't like plugins that really take over the dashboard
Mm.
and you don't even feel like you're in the dashboard anymore. So if you stick to the theme, colors, styles, and look and feel of that, it's challenging to then broaden that onto a separate website, onto a separate cloud platform. That's your real constraint is the plugin. I hope it's making sense. Is what I'm trying to say is you have lots of constraints if you kind of stick to the what you can do in the WordPress dashboard.
Mm. Well, like in the past, I've sort of like had a little bit of input in the interface and things for
Mm.
code snippets. I mean, more than happy to jump on a call one day with you and Verdi and just have a
Yeah, yeah,
chat about what your thoughts are, and
we
maybe
love
give
it.
an outside perspective. And the same, get Imran on the call as well, because I think
Mm.
it is useful to have that outside perspective. So like, what's I'm looking for? The outside opinion on what we would look for and how we would like to work with things.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sounds good. It'd be lovely. I think it'd be very useful.
Always happy to do that. You know that.
So actually, for you, aside from obviously work that you do on here and maybe client websites, do you ever revisit your your any of your sites? Do you do anything updating them, or do you okay, they're there and people, I'm a bit more well known now, so it's fine. I don't really need to refresh or update.
No, no, I'm definitely one to go back and take a look. I get fed up. I'm my own worst critic because I find it really difficult to design for myself. But
Yeah,
for example, like the Learn Bricks Builder, that's a completely new design. I refreshed that probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago with the front end, the sort of the front page of that. The
nice.
dashboard, I've been customizing that side of things. I'm working on WP Tats version 3, I think it is. So
Wow.
there's always something going on in the background because I kind of like I'll take tools and I'll learn them and I'll have a project and I'll work on that as well like into the WP so I can kind of get a platform where I can test things out. And then if I want to migrate it over,
Mm.
I can migrate it, or I can just take pieces and use those to use them where I think they would be most effective. You know, like the courses section or the home page or things like that.
Mm. No, it's good. I think the hardest thing you are your own worst critic sometimes. Definitely
Mm.
looking back, I think I'm the worst at this. I look back at something I did last week and I think, what was I on? You know?
To be honest, I've got a simple rule with it. What I do is, if I design anything, and this could be designing with web design, it could be graphics like I've done in the past, music when I'm writing music and things. I will work on it intensely for a very short period of time, and then I'll have to stand back.
Mm,
And if I come back in 2 or 3 days' time, and I'm still excited about it, I'll then
mm.
carry on working. And I know it's something that I will probably push forward and probably see to the end, to the fruition. But if I come back and I think, yeah, not really bothered. It's like I just leave it and move on. It's not worth it.
That's good. That's a good workflow. That's good philosophy. I think sometimes, for me, sometimes the worst thing is just getting stuck in a tunnel, tunnel vision on things, and I think that's the best approach. What you said, just take a step back from it, and then come back.
Yeah, you do. You just have to get some distance from it because if you're going to spend a lot of time working and seeing it through to the end, you have to like what you've created. And I think that's the
Mm,
difficult thing when you work with clients is you might. I found very early on in my career that if you give 2 or 3 designs, chances are they'll pick the one that you don't like. You know, out of the 3 designs, you've got that's the one I really didn't like that much. So I've
yeah.
kind of got to the point of going, I'll work through those 3 designs and I'll go, that's the best one, and that's the one I'll submit to the client. If they come
Mm.
back and say, I don't like it, then I've got 2 others I can try. But giving them the 3, chances are they pick the one that you least like, and that's the one you'll have to work on.
No, that's very true. So, what about stuff that you do? Like you're doing WP Test version 3, and obviously, another conversation I think we had very recently where we said just about can be quite lonely working, by yourself. Do you, apart from you taking a step back and looking at it, do you soundboard them with anybody? Do you show them any family, friends, or any colleagues, or do you just go with your own gut? How does that work?
I actually sort of share it with my partner. I mean, even though she's not doing it now, she's a designer. So it's
Nice.
been useful that not web design, but it's one of
Hmm.
those things that I can sort of say, well, what do you think of this? And can you see any areas that I think could be improved or just doesn't work right? And she'll come back and give me honest feedback. And that's the nice thing is I value her feedback and I will listen to what she says. And if I think, okay, actually, that's the right direction, let's change something there. Or if I've got a counter argument, the nice thing is we'll have a conversation about why a decision's been made. So it's like talking to a client where you've got to justify it sometimes, but
Yeah,
it at
yeah.
least gives you a perspective that maybe isn't coming from someone that is inside that world specifically. I think that could be useful.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's for sure. At least it's a conversation.
It's true, it's true. What are the politer ones? What about you? I mean, obviously you've got Verdi because you were kind of like working together on code snippets, but other than that, what kind of like support network or create network do you have around you that you can sort of soundboard and throw ideas around?
Yeah, ideas wise, I think definitely my partner, she's an artistic person. She's an artist actually, but she's not from web or anything like this. But
Hmm.
again, from visual point of view, I do definitely speak to her, and get her opinion on things, what looks nice, what doesn't. I find for me because I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades, do a bit of this, do a bit of that. The hardest thing that I find, and the thing I struggle with a lot, is when there's more, I don't know, more technical problems, and half the time it is just talking that problem out,
Mm.
getting help, and this is an area where, yeah, I struggle actually to find. Either I'll end up talking to myself, I'll end up standing, and this is why I walk. And this is what most of the time, if I'm on a call, I'm standing because you're seeing me after 5 minutes of pacing back and forth, just talking to myself. Or yeah, nowadays ChatGPT has become a friend, but it's hard because it's hard because sometimes, it's quite niche, the areas that I work in. I think for myself, my main role is in health, and so
Okay.
actually health and technology is quite a niche in itself. There aren't that many people I think that I could easily just jump into a conversation with and say, I've got this problem. What do you think? So I do have some colleagues at work we can talk to, but generally, yeah, I struggle with that actually. The design part, I think web design is not as challenging because you can always show someone, and I agree with you actually, show someone who's not involved in it at all.
Mm.
What do you think of this? And get their feedback.
Yeah, it gives a perspective that you were probably not going to get from someone that's inside that particular
Yeah,
sector. But it is
I
it
think
is
that's the
it is
best.
challenging. Yeah, I know that we sort of created the creator network, which is a group of creators like Imran, myself, and so on. And we've got a little
Mm,
Facebook group, and we have video calls together.
nice.
And mainly because doing this kind of job is very insular. I can talk to my
Mm,
partner about it, but she's not going to
mm,
understand most of what I'm talking about because it's
mm,
a world she's not part of. And I think you need to have people around you, peers that you can talk to and you can discuss ideas and get their experiences and all those kinds of things. And I think whatever sector you're in, like say with you with creating code snippets, I think you would benefit from having a group of peers around that you could just talk to.
mm,
So when you're struggling with something, you've got someone you can just,
mm,
bounce ideas off. They don't have to give you a solution,
mm,
but sometimes talking to people that understand you is enough to trigger your brain to
mm.
start coming up with ideas you may not have had in the first place.
No, for sure. I think when it comes with code snippets specifically, it's nice we have a weekly sync, um, and that's kind of sometimes we try to be as structured as we can. These are the things we're going to talk about,
Mm.
but oftentimes it goes off on a tangent, and we're just talking about ideas and things because, yeah, I think we're a small team, but we're quite divided, spread around. The original founder, Shay, he's in New Zealand, somewhere in Europe, one's in the Middle East. So we're all kind of spread out, and this is once a week we get to talk about, just catch up on things. But that's definitely a good network. I think it's exactly what this person's saying. It's in any industry. I think it's important to have other people within that industry and outside of that industry just to share that, bounce off with.
Yeah, absolutely. We need a support network around us because whatever you're doing, you can't do it in isolation because you just become an echo chamber for yourself. And I think you
Yeah.
need perspective, you need other people's opinions, opposing opinions, everything else. It doesn't matter what they are, they're important.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes it opens your minds to perspectives that you've not even considered, or things that are so blaringly obvious that you didn't even see something. Yeah,
Oh, I totally agree. And I think it is really nice. And I think a lot of people really need to sort of just factor that into whatever they're doing. If you're doing something that's in isolation, whether that's you're a solopreneur, you're working as a freelance web designer, try to just find people, whether they're online in a group or Facebook group, whatever,
mm,
people you can just bounce ideas off when you're having a shitty day or you're a project that's really peeing you off. You've got people that understand what you're going through. That in
mm.
itself is worth so much.
I think I'm quite interested. I'm actually impressed as well that you've got this kind of creator network because I would have thought maybe you guys are all kind of vying for each other's views and subscribers, and it's like
No.
throwing mud at each other.
No. The funny thing is, it's the complete opposite. I mean, it's a small group. I think there's 8 or 9 of us. And,
Nice. You're a
we've got
cartel.
people. Yeah, a little
You're the
cartel, yeah.
you're the website WordPress cartel.
Yeah, well, to be honest, if we get people getting too smart, we send hits out on them. That's all I'm saying. But it is nice because we've all got different skill sets. We've got overlapping audiences, but
Yeah.
it's nice that you've got people that just understand what you're talking about.
Mm.
And, you know, we were talking about this morning. I think, I don't know if you were on Imran's live stream this morning when we were talking about this particular part, but we do watch each other's content. We do take information from each other, and we will create, I won't say the same content, but the same topic in our own way. And that might be taking one small part of someone else's uh, topic and putting that into a bigger tutorial, or doing the opposite, taking a big tutorial, going,
Mm.
that little bit but there, I get asked about that a lot, so I'm going to create a video on that specific thing. And it's a good way to get inspiration and a source of ideas. There's enough space in this WordPress YouTube world for tons of us to be able to create content.
Mm.
So I don't see it as being competitive. I see it as being supportive.
For sure. I think that's a good thing. I think that's the goal of that should always be supportive. And have you ever had it where, I don't know, someone's got an idea, it's crossing over into your territory, and you're a bit like, whoa, stay in your lane?
No, that's the nice thing. I mean, Imran traditionally doesn't cover dynamic content, but recently,
Mm.
say over the last 6 months or so, he's delved into some dynamic content and things. And I don't look at that and go, hang on a minute, that's mine. It's like, I
Mm.
don't care. Because
Yeah, yeah.
the whole thing that I think all of this group have, and it was a hand-picked group. That group all has one goal, and that's to help people become better at web design, set up their own business, or become more efficient, proficient, and make more money. And that's all we care about. And if someone watches my video and watches Imran's video and watches, sort of Dave Foy's video and takes his course, as long as they get the results that they are looking for, I don't care
Mm.
whose videos
Mm.
help them. Maybe all of our videos give them a different perspective in different ways, but who cares? They get the
Mm.
results they're looking for. And that's the important thing, in my opinion.
No, that's true. That's true. I think that comes through as well from an audience. I think if you're watching videos and sometimes you can really get the vibe that the person promoting something in that video, they're not maybe used it, then it's just something, it's a sponsor, they got some money from it, they don't really believe in it maybe. And then that just kind of loses trust. And especially when you're in this kind of education, teaching kind of category, it's really important. Trust is really important.
It absolutely is. Imran has said it many times, and I've said it many times. We get emails every single day of companies wanting to pay us to create reviews and things like that.
Mm.
And I don't do paid reviews. I never have. I never will. And anybody that contacts me, and if I decide to work with them, there's one simple rule. I don't give an opinion. If you watch any of my sponsored content, you'll see right at the beginning, I'll say, this video is sponsored by company X or product Y.
Mm.
I'm not going to give you an opinion. I'm simply going to demonstrate how this works, and then you can make a more informed decision for yourself. And that's always been my aim. I'll show you the benefits of using something. I won't tell you whether you should or shouldn't use it. I will just let you decide, is this going to do the job that I want? Is this the plugin, tool, theme, whatever that's going to make my job easier? Now I can make a decision whether that's right or wrong for me, and then you can decide for yourself. And I've always felt that that's the fairest way that I can do it.
Have you ever decided or thought about, I don't know, like you said, Imran typically doesn't do dynamic data as an example, branching out to do other things, or are you quite focused on this is the area that I want to, focus on?
No, I've got plenty of sort of ideas with different things that I want to do. I'm the kind of person that, if you look at my videos, if I was geared just to specifically making money out of this platform, I would be much more focused on what I do. The problem is I get shiny object syndrome. So I'll see a plugin or something I like, I go, oh, I really like that. I go do a video on it. And that's why you'll probably see my videos will go a little bit all over the place at times. And sometimes it'll be focused because I go like, stop looking at the shiny stuff. Look at the things you should be doing.
No, that's true. No, I think that's comes from a genuine place, and it's an enthusiast. You're an enthusiast. I
I
think
am.
so for sure. At first, yeah, that's
I still get
interesting.
excited about the different tools that I see. I mean, people will send things over or they'll tell me about something, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I got to play with that more. I lose days. I mean, I used to be a absolute sod for it before, sort of with my partner that I've been with for like the last 17 years. But I'd be up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be working the next day. You know, I'd be teaching for like 3 lessons the next day, but I would be up till the early hours of the morning every single night, building websites and trying software out and things like that. And it's
Mm.
like I've always been a nerd when it comes to those kinds of things. It's
No,
really sad, but it's been fun.
that's cool. Technology is fun, especially new things and like discovering new ways of doing things, discovering new tools, new things. It can be exciting.
It is great fun. Like I say, I think sometimes you have to draw the line, and I'm a bit crap at drawing that line.
So you were a teacher?
Yeah, I spent 10 years teaching adult education.
Nice. Wow.
It was all sort of web design, graphic design, IT, digital photography, multimedia, those types of things. So it's all creative, or predominantly creative. That
Mm.
was my background. Yeah, so 10 years I did that. And then I went on and got involved in a design company and then set up my own design agency. And then went on freelance when I decided that that wasn't the direction I wanted to go in. I wanted full control over what I wanted to do.
Mm.
During that time, I was building the WP Touch channel. At the time, it was a faceless channel. And then I made the conscious decision to actually become the actual person of WP Touch as opposed
Mm.
to just being this WP Touch thing. And I think that was probably the best thing to do because it kind of allowed me to combine
Yeah.
the two passions that I have, web design and design alongside teaching and helping people learn.
No, awesome. Wow. It's
It's
quite
been
a,
fun.
that's quite a scary jump. Yeah, going from a company into freelance, doing your own thing. It's quite a brave move.
But best decision I ever made. Absolutely the best decision. From day dot, uh, it changed everything about my sort of future career and the direction because I was in complete control of everything, which sounds like a bit of a megalomaniac, but I think it was just a case of it's very easy when you're in a partnership to
Mm.
defer things that you're not comfortable with to someone else and then have no control over that and no understanding. I know where everything is, I know where every penny is gone, and all those kinds of things. And that for me has changed my perception on everything.
Mm.
I do everything in the business. Other than
Wow.
submitting the accounts at the end of your accounts to my accountant, I still do all the accounts, everything like that, all the marketing, promotion, everything. And I like it that way. I know exactly where everything is, where everything's going, and I can make the decisions whether I want to buy into something or not.
Mm. So you last thing, I feel like I'm doing your interview actually. It's quite fun. Hope you don't mind.
No,
But
no.
it's interesting, getting to know people. I think this is what I really enjoy, just getting to know people and more than just the background of the person, the story of the person. I think is really interesting because we all have a story to share, and getting to know that stories. And if you don't mind me asking, um, would you say doing it on your own? Because it can be obviously quite scary as well. Everything's on you, promoting, all that kind of thing. Would you do that? Would you do that again if you went back, or do you think you would do something differently?
No, I do.
And
I may be more focused in the early days, but I think you only know that by going through what you have to go through to get to the point of realizing the decisions you made, whether they're right or wrong.
mm,
So I think the only thing I would change would be I would focus my efforts more in one direction. Because, like I say, when I first started out, I was just like, I didn't know where I wanted to go with WordPress and the teaching and so on.
mm,
But then it was a case of, right, okay, dynamic content is not being covered very much. I mean, pretty much nobody covered it. And that's my background was using Dreamweaver, but using a sort of,
nice.
yeah, using a sort of rapid development environment to build my own CMS. So I kind of came from that background of building my own things and building modular CMS so I could bolt bits and pieces in as clients wanted different things. So my brain's always been wired that way. So when I came over to WordPress, I always felt limited. But then when the tools started to come out and you could start to integrate advanced custom fields with tools like Elementor and now Bricks and so on, it was that was my kind of my comfort zone. It's like now I'm where I want to be. These are the things that I'm
Mm,
comfortable with and I understand them. And I get a lot of nice comments from people saying that I explain those complicated topics in understandable ways. So it's great that if that is the case, that's my job is being done the way that I want it to be done, which is
mm,
helping people avoid the pitfalls and mistakes and the learning things that I've had to go through, I can help them get past those and hopefully get further quicker because I've made the mistakes and I've had the learning experience. Um, but yeah, well, I don't think I would change anything. I think I would just be a bit more focused in what I do.
I can see definitely you've got lots of success on the channel and with the content. Do you think that's where your direction is? It where you're going? You think the kind of clients, building sites, and all that kind of stuff you leave to the side and focus more on this
Yeah,
kind of
well,
platform?
yeah. When COVID came out in 2020, it was sort of like, was it March 2020? It was a case of, right, most of my clients now are self-contained. So they don't need me, and I've always set it up that way. I don't want them to be reliant on me. So I knew that I've got two choices. I can either poop myself and think, where's the money going to come from? Or I double down on YouTube, and that's what I did. So I went from being like 1 or 2 videos a week to, at the time, for a couple of months, doing 5 videos a week. And that kind of pulled back a little bit. But I think that was the right decision because that then meant that YouTube became my full-time thing. So while I still work with clients occasionally, and I'm working with 3 clients at the moment, I don't take new clients on. I just
Nice.
don't take new clients on at the moment. And I have
Ah, okay,
no
these are
intention of
existing
doing it.
clients.
Yeah, just
Okay, these are
existing
existing.
clients.
Okay.
Because I've been
I was gonna
working
say, how
with.
do you manage this all? You got your channel, you got the 3 clients, you got all your clients. I mean, that's a lot to go. That's got going on.
It is, but I've always been that sort of like I'm comfortable juggling multiple things at the same time. I I, I go on those brains that I can't just turn off. My brain is always going on. And I kind of get the feeling Imran is very much the same because he always feels like he's a million miles an hour. Um, I'm sorry, I got to laugh at Carl. Thank you, thank you very much. Oh yeah, don't forget, I do the band as well. So yeah,
Band, family, kids. You got to keep
yeah.
your mansion in order. You've got
I
your
got,
three standing desks.
I do, I do, I do. It's hell walking from one wing to the other.
The West Wing.
If I get the binoculars out, I can just about see the roof of the West
Yeah.
Wing.
No, but it's been, you know what, I have to say, when I came started with WordPress and I was looking at, everyone does, YouTube, looking for tutorials, guides. You were one of the first kind of people that I found and came across, and I found you an invaluable resource.
Thank
And
you.
I think you were actually, I think, one of the first people that actually introduced me to bricks generally. I think when it first came out, you were really loving it, and you made a video. Um, so yeah, I think you're staying true to what you believe, and your passion comes through. So I would say, don't lose that. I think that's what I think really shines through from your videos. That it's not just something you're doing to make videos, to make content, to make money. It's something you really enjoy.
It is. I mean, I'm glad that does come through because it is one of those things that when you've been doing it, I think 8 years I've been doing this now. It's pretty easy to kind of start to get a bit jaded or a little bit sort of disheartened or lose your passion. But thankfully, I still get just as excited now when new tools come out. And I'm kind of like Advanced Thema, Bricks Forge, and things like that. When it comes to bricks, I'm like, I really want to know all about these tools because they're exciting, And I think that's that. I don't think I'd lose that passion because I'm very much, I like to learn. I always like to be stimulating my brain as small as it is, but I do like to kind of like just keep on learning. I like to learn.
I think a lot of people take for granted like making these videos is no easy task, and I can make a video about, I don't know, the bricks feature. It takes me 10 minutes. I think there's a lot of effort and work that goes into making a video. So cramming that all in, I mean, I'm thinking about myself, if the work that I do, and if I wanted to do videos on top of it, I have no time, no time. And plus, I've got no equipment. I'm always in someone else's house right now. This is a feature home. Look, this is
Exactly.
a plain.
Exactly. I mean, when you stop breaking into people's houses, you know, at least break into someone that's got a decent microphone. That's all I'm going to say.
Need to target some of these higher end estate agents. I
Yeah.
keep going for the local ads.
I mean, just pop in and just jump into the West Wing. It's fine. It's fine. But Robert, thank you very much saying you're a valuable resource and introduced me to Bricks Builder and plenty of other tools. That's very nice to know. Like I say, a lot of the time, you do get some people think that it's all about affiliate money and stuff like that. But the reality of it is probably 80% of the stuff that I cover is complete. I got to pay for the wings. It's completely. I get nothing for it. I pay for the software myself. Like with Cloudways, for example, I still pay for Cloudways. I could probably get it for free, but I've been paying for Cloudways for the last 2.5 years. And even though I work with them, I still pay for the service, and I still use the service. I got like about 7 websites that I use, personal business sites that are on there as well. So whatever people do seem to think, not everybody is out there that's just constantly after the affiliate money. The reality of it is that you can tell the ones that are after affiliate money. You can tell. It's blatantly obvious. Some people are quite open about it, and I respect them for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up now because I'm going to go and pick up my little boy in the next half an hour.
Nice.
And thank you very much.
Thanks for letting me jump on.
Hey, my pleasure. It's been great to get on. The only thing that's weird is I've got an echo of myself delayed every time I'm talking, so that's why I'm kind of a bit stumbly of what I'm saying. It's because I've got this reverb delay in my own head of me. It's really weird.
Now you know how Imran feels. This is his day. This is how he is every day. He hears himself echoing.
There's a little echo chamber inside his head. Imran's he's a good boy. I like Imran. He's very good. Anyway, Artif, thank you so much for joining in today. It's been a bit of fun. It's been nice to catch up. And like I say, let's have a chat offline about bits and pieces. And if I can help out in any way, let me know. Even if it's just to give feedback on what you're doing or anything like that, always welcome to do that.
Love to.
Everybody else, thank you so much for joining in today. If you're new around here, thanks for taking the time out of your day for joining in for the first time. Hopefully I'll see you again in the near future. And for all you old ones for popping in, including Carl, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you guys and spend an hour or two just talking stuff. Anyway, take care, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch up with you all soon. Thanks, Latif. Take care, guys.
Yes.
Bye now.
Bye.